Did you know that the way you begin your morning can determine your entire day? Today I invite you to discover the art of waking up with serenity so that your mind and your heart are protected against anxiety. Allow me to accompany you with calming words, illuminating ideas, and simple techniques that will help you regain control of your life from the very first breath of dawn in Australia. Anxiety is born as a whisper in the mind, a slight tremor that turns into a storm if we do not learn to listen to it with compassion. It is an unexpected visitor that, if you feed it with catastrophic thoughts, grows and settles into your inner home. However, if you greet it with awareness, if you observe it without judgment, it begins to lose its strength. Today I want to ask you, how do you feel when your alarm goes off? Do you get up as if a mountain were falling on top of you, or can you, even for a moment, take a deep breath and be grateful for the gift of a new day? There is no better morning medicine than a calm heart, and there is no greater enemy than an overflowing thought at dawn. To begin your day with serenity, I propose a brief and powerful exercise: bamboo breathing. Imagine that you are a bamboo stalk, flexible, strong, empty inside so that the wind can pass through without breaking you. Upon waking, sit on the edge of your bed, place your hands on your knees, and breathe slowly and deeply through your nose. Visualize the air as a cool breeze that comes in and out, gently bending your anxiety, like bamboo that leans without snapping. Do this for 5 breathing cycles and you will feel a slight change, a small crack of light opening among your thoughts. Whoever controls their first thought governs the rest of the day. In an old monastery nestled in the mountains of Australia, a young apprentice woke up every morning full of anxiety. He thought about everything that could go wrong, the tasks he would not finish, the mistakes he might make. One day, his teacher took him to a garden covered with dew at dawn. "Observe this dew," he said. "It shines with the sunlight, but in a few minutes it will disappear. That is how anxiety is. It seems large when it arises. However, if you remain still for just a moment, it evaporates." From that day on, the young monk began to sit in silence at dawn, observing how the sun transformed the drops into light and his mind into peace. You too can transform your morning anxiety. Have you noticed that many of your worries never even materialize? That your mind steals your tranquility before anything happens? Recognizing this habit is the first step to changing it. Today I want to share with you the technique of the 3 dawn questions. Inspired by Eastern traditions but adapted for you. What is the most important thing I can do today to move closer to my inner peace? What thought could I let go of right now to feel lighter? Who could I offer a word of encouragement or gratitude to this morning by answering them sincerely? You will be planting seeds of serenity in your mind. Write them in a notebook next to your bed, and each morning take 1 minute to reflect on them. Your mind at dawn is like a calm lake. Every thought you throw is a stone that creates ripples. If you throw many stones of worry, the water becomes agitated. But if you throw only stones of gratitude and purpose, your lake remains serene and reflects the sunlight. There is a story told that in a small town in Australia lived a man who every morning ran out of his house, chased by an invisible tiger that only he could see. And no one understood his fear, but he exhausted himself day after day, fleeing from a danger that never arrived. A wise old man stopped him and asked, "Why are you running?" he replied. "Because the tiger is about to catch me." The old man smiled and said, "Stop and look behind you." The man stopped and discovered that there was no tiger, only his own thoughts. From then on, he began each day with stillness and never had to run again. How many times have your thoughts created tigers that do not exist? How much energy do you spend fleeing from imaginary dangers? Today you can choose to stop and look, and discover that most of your fears are only echoes in your mind. When you breathe consciously, you calm your mind. When you calm your mind, you nourish your heart. When you nourish your heart, you transform your day. Today we have understood that morning anxiety is not an inevitable destiny, but a habit that you can transform with small conscious practices: bamboo breathing, the 3 dawn questions, and reflection on invisible tigers. These tools allow you to begin your day with a strong spirit and a serene mind. There is a principle in Buddhist philosophy that says, "The mind is like a jumping monkey. If you do not train it, it will take you from branch to branch without rest." This monkey mind is an expert at finding problems where there are none, inventing terrible scenarios, and keeping you trapped in a loop of anxiety. One simple practice is the mindful observation of the senses. Upon waking in Australia, take 1 minute to listen to the sounds around you: the song of a bird, the murmur of the rain, the silence of dawn. Then open your eyes and observe a simple object with attention: the fold of the sheets, the texture of a wall. Feel the temperature of the air on your skin. This exercise anchors your mind in the present and reduces the anxiety that arises from worrying about the future. Imagine that your mind is like a wild horse. If you leave it without reins, it will run out of control and drag you along. But if you look it in the eyes, stroke it, and guide it gently, that same horse can take you wherever you want to go. This is how the mind works. It is not about repressing it. It is about training it with patience and love. Near a bamboo forest in Australia lived a farmer who woke up every day afraid of the storm. Every grey cloud made him tremble. An elderly monk watched him from his hut and one day whispered to him, "The rain does not come to harm you. On the contrary, it comes to nourish the forest and nourish you." From that moment on, the farmer learned not to flee from the clouds and to receive each drop as a gift. Thus, his heart stopped beating with panic every morning and began to beat with gratitude. You too can learn to see your storms as opportunities to grow rather than threats that paralyze you. Anxiety in small doses can be a teacher that reminds you there is something to resolve. But when you let it grow without guidance, it becomes a tyrant that steals your joy. When you open your eyes each morning, ask yourself this simple question: what can I be grateful for today that yesterday I took for granted? Answering it shifts your focus from fear to gratitude. And gratitude is a balm that dissolves anxiety. Breathe and observe. Breathe and feel. Breathe and give thanks. Begin the day by planting gratitude, and you will see how serenity begins to bloom. It is said that a disciple once asked his teacher, "Master, how can I make sure that anxiety does not dominate my day?" The teacher took a glass of water and shook it forcefully, clouding it. Then he left it in silence on the table and said, "If you allow the mind to settle like this glass, clarity returns on its own." Have you noticed that when you insist on finding solutions while your mind is agitated, you only achieve greater confusion? But if you give yourself a moment to calm down, the answers begin to emerge naturally. Hurry is the mother of fear. Calm is the mother of clarity. Today we discovered that morning anxiety can be transformed with simple exercises such as bamboo breathing, mindful observation of the senses, and questions that cultivate gratitude. We learned that the tigers and storms that frighten us so much usually exist only in the mind, and that with small daily practices we can recover serenity upon waking. Sometimes we believe that anxiety is a monster we must eliminate, but in reality it is a messenger that comes to show us where light is needed. Morning fear tells us that there is something we have not attended to. Early sadness reveals that we need affection. Racing thoughts tell us that we long for calm. The emotion you deny becomes a shadow. The emotion you embrace becomes a path. Today I want to take you to another exercise that can transform your mornings, the ritual of mindful tea. If upon waking you have a few minutes, prepare a tea or a hot drink. Do it slowly, like a monk who honors every step. Heat the water, feel the steam, observe the color of the liquid as you pour it. While you drink, do so without distractions, only paying attention to the aroma, the warmth on your tongue, the beating of your heart. This small act of presence can be a powerful anchor to calm an anxious mind and remind you that life is savored in the here and now. Your mind is like boiling tea. If you let it rest, the thoughts settle and the water becomes clear. Observe your mind, observe your breathing, observe your heart. In a stone temple in Australia, a young novice used to serve tea to the elderly abbot. Every morning, when he spilled a few drops, he apologized nervously. "Forgive me, Master, my mind was elsewhere." The Master smiled and replied, "The mind that jumps faster than your hands is the mind that needs to sit in silence." One day, the young man decided to focus only on the sound of the water filling the cup, on the texture of the ceramic, on the gratitude of the moment. And for the first time, he did not spill a single drop. The teacher nodded in silence. He knew that the disciple had understood that anxiety is healed by cultivating presence. Have you noticed how, when you do something in a hurry, your mind stumbles and makes you feel clumsy or frustrated, but when you breathe, when you focus, everything becomes simpler, more harmonious. This Buddhist practice says that anxiety is like a guest who feels uncomfortable when you smile at it. Before getting out of bed, close your eyes, gently lift the corners of your lips, and allow a slight smile to be born. Visualize that this smile extends to your chest, your stomach, your hands, your feet. Feel how the warmth of that smile relaxes your body. This exercise activates the parasympathetic nervous system, reduces heart rate, and sends a message to your brain that you are safe, that you do not need to enter a state of alert. The inner smile is the sun that disperses the clouds of fear. A disciple went to the teacher saying, "I have tried all the techniques to overcome my anxiety, but nothing works." The teacher looked at him with tenderness and asked, "Have you tried smiling at yourself every morning as if you were your own best friend?" The disciple tried it for 7 dawns. On the 8th day, he returned with shining eyes. For the first time in years, he woke up with lightness. Your anxiety is like a dog that barks when it senses danger. But if you speak to it calmly and caress it, it soon stops barking and lies at your feet. Smile at your fears. Smile at your mistakes. Smile at your own humanity. Many of us seek complex techniques to control anxiety, but we forget that the simplest gestures, such as breathing with awareness or smiling without a reason, are the ones that can change our emotional state the fastest, because they are tools that already live within you, just waiting for you to remember them. This exercise combines mindfulness with self-compassion. Upon getting up, cross your arms over your chest and gently hug yourself. Breathe slowly and deeply. As you exhale, repeat mentally, "I am safe. I deserve calm." This simple act releases oxytocin, a hormone that reduces anxiety and strengthens the feeling of inner safety. Whoever hugs themselves at dawn walks with courage for the rest of the day. A monk walked every morning through the forest in Australia to a clearing where he practiced meditation. One day he found an injured fawn that was trembling. Instead of ignoring it, he carried it in his arms and took it with him, whispering gentle words, "Every dawn." The monk repeated the same gesture until the fawn recovered. Someone asked him why he devoted time to such a fragile animal. The monk replied, "Because every day that I heal it, I also heal myself." You too need to care for the fawn of your mind, that fragile, wounded, or fearful part that asks for your tenderness. By doing so, your anxiety transforms into compassion and your fear into strength. Anxiety shouts, compassion whispers, but its voice is more powerful. Today we discovered that mindful presence, the inner smile, and embracing the body are simple keys to opening the door to serenity. We understood that anxiety is a messenger, not an enemy, and that with daily practices we can turn it into a teacher. We reflected on the importance of treating ourselves with kindness at dawn, because the way we speak to ourselves defines the way we walk. Patience is a powerful antidote to anxiety. When a thought arises that accelerates your heart, observe, breathe, and wait. You will see that many times fear dissipates on its own. Anxiety is a frightened bird fluttering inside you. When you become still, you allow it to perch gently, and by doing so, it stops flapping its wings. Anxiety is part of life, but it does not need to govern it. When you learn to listen to it without fear, to respond with gratitude, and to act with serenity, you discover that every dawn is an invitation to be reborn stronger. Walk calmly, trust the light, be reborn with every sun. Thank you for accompanying me on this journey through anxiety-proof mornings. Today you have received simple and profound tools so that each dawn becomes a space of hope, not fear, of peace, not haste. May you find each day the strength to stop, breathe, and remember that serenity is the greatest gift you can give yourself. I invite you to practice one of these techniques tomorrow morning, and if you wish to deepen your serenity, I encourage you to watch our video on meditation, where you will learn to transform your restlessness into clarity